Nets Kingdom.
Fuck that house, Lyles. I'm back. To the top, I'ma make it. Niggas just can't take it. To the top, I'ma make 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 it. Niggas just can't take it.
Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy AJ. I'm here with Rage and Cypher. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, follow us all on Twitter. Our Twitters are scrolling at the bottom. Instagram is NetsKingdom1, and we have articles on netskingdom.net. Check that link in the description. We're here to talk about CJ Cam Johnson, the one and only Cam Johnson. We've gotten news today about the Kings. It's funny because I was telling it before we started this. I woke up today to Kings news about Cam Johnson. Shout out to, I think, James Ham is his name. He's an NBA writer for the Kings. He dropped kind of some tidbits about a Nets deal
Continue
about the
to
Kings.
hear
So I'm about to play it real
from
quick.
sources that like that deal could be had. It's just the Kings have to give up a better draft pick. That the Nets are not going to take 2 years of Kevin Huerter or a year and a half of Kevin Huerter and a bad draft pick for Cam Johnson.
Sure.
And that you'd have to figure out the rest of the financials, like, which aren't that difficult. Like if the Kings want to remain a tax-paying team, a non-tax-paying team, then Trey Lyles could go in the deal. If not, again, the Kings have, multiple minimum scale contracts that they could throw in, whether it's Doug McDermott or Jordan McLaughlin or Colby Jones or Alex Len, to make money work with a trade. And so like you can pull off that trade without including Trey Lyles.
Sure.
But you're going to have to give up at least, I believe the Nets want an unprotected first round pick, and the Kings are balking at that. They want a lottery protected pick from what I've heard. And there should be some ground there somewhere, maybe a top 3 protected pick in year 1. So that would be like kind of where like the Kings and the Nets have to come to some sort of agreement.
Yeah, so we got that news from James. Shout out to James. ESPN, don't flag me. That was fair use. Don't flag me. We were just reacting to James Ham. Shout out to James. But we got that news in the morning about the Kings and the Nets possibly talks. But then literally 6 hours from that, Mark Stein dropped this. He said league sources told the Stein line on Wednesday that there has been no discussions between the Kings and Nets regarding Cam Johnson for weeks. Sources say that the Kings at this juncture do not see a pathway to a workable Johnson deal with the Nets. So yeah, guys, like, my opinion was, like, trust me, I trust Mark Stein and Jake Fisher. Those are really, friends of the show. I really appreciate Jake Fisher and those guys. But I do believe that the Kings and the Net and Sean have talked. I think they spoke. They had a discussion, like James was saying, because James is a good writer too. He covers the Kings. I think they had that discussion, but people have to respect the timeline. I think that discussion probably happened weeks ago, and they haven't come back to it. They got it at that stall with the unprotected first. Sean was like, no, give me an unprotected first. They wanted the lottery. I think it stalled, and then they stopped talking for that. Now, that doesn't mean that, because we're still, 15 days away from the trade deadline. That doesn't mean the Kings GM could call Sean again and revisit this, because, they still have time. But I just think we got to respect the timelines here. They stopped talking about that for weeks. Now, let me ask you guys this. We were talking about this before. What are you guys' opinion about just trading with the Kings in general? I think the Kings are right now 8th seed in the West. If you're a Kings fan, are you desperate right now to make a move? Because you go there in Mark Stein's article, it said that the Kings are looking for an upgrade. Like, the Nets are not the only team they're talking to. They're looking around the league for something to just give them a boost so they can up it and be up there in that Western Conference. And because they went out sad last year, if you're a Kings fan, are you feeling a little bit desperate, or are you okay with just speeding by with this team. How do you guys feel if you're a Kings fan? Like, put yourselves in the Kings' shoes. Yeah,
You're gonna have to try and make a move if you're the Kings. Like you're not
yeah,
they're that with that team, like they're obviously solid, they're all right, but they're not gonna
mhm,
be, making any, noise really deep into the playoffs, I think at all,
mhm,
and in terms of an upgrade, it's definitely gonna need to happen relatively soon if they want to do any type of, competing,
mhm.
going into the playoffs. But even then, you still never know in terms of how that's gonna play out with the Kings.
Yeah. Go ahead, Syph.
It's hard to say because Kings fans are used to things being bad.
That's so
Right?
true.
This 3 year stretch has been like great for them
Yeah.
relative to everything else. Like they were the third seed. They
Mhm.
took the Warriors to 7. I know they lost, but it was still impressive they did that.
Yeah.
Last year, they got revenge against the Warriors in the play-in. They lost in the second play-in game to the Pelicans, missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right now, they're the 7th seed, playing the Warriors right now at this moment. So we'll see what happens there. But
Yeah.
I don't know. If I'm the Kings, I would make a trade for Cam Johnson. I would give up the unprotected first because at the end of the day, this is an organization that historically has not done well with a draft. And it just worked. Like Cam Johnson's a good player. He's on a good contract. You're not really giving up much. I mean, Cam Johnson is much better than Kevin Herter.
Yeah, he's better than Kevin Huerter. Miles better than, in my
Yeah.
opinion, way better than Kevin Huerter. Way better.
Trey
Yeah.
Lyles does have to be in the deal, and
Mhm.
we'd probably have to throw them like Max Lewis to make them salaries work.
Right.
But like, you're not really giving up that much. Like the pick hurts, but you have plenty of picks, and I believe they gave up an unprotected pick swap for DeMar DeRozan to make that trade work. So
Yeah. Yeah.
like you're already in deep. You have Sabonis making that contract. You have DeRozan on contract. I know there is a risk that Fox may walk in 2026,
Yeah.
but right now, just have some success. Like, just give up the first. Cam Johnson, he's a great dude. Averaging 19 points on nearly 50, 40, 90 splits. Okay, decent enough defender. He's 6'8", he could switch. He's okay.
Yeah.
Just trade for him. Like, there's no reason not to. It's not like you're trading all your picks for him.
Yeah. And then we were just looking through their picks. Like they own their picks from what, 26 to 30. And I know we looked at they can't trade that 26 until draft night. So it's like I'm looking at this roster right now, and you're in win now mode. Sabonis, Fox, DeMar, Malik, like I said, Keegan, and like you're in win now mode. You got to win now. I'm looking at the bottom, Kobe Jones, all these guys at the bottom, and I know like shout out to James, he was putting these minimum guys in there, but I think the bulk of this trade will be Kevin Huerter and Trey Lyles. Now, I think the reason why Sean still said no with Kevin Huerter, because I got to look how many years he has left.
2.
But he has 2. So
this year, next year.
So yeah, maybe Sean was a little bit iffy. Like, okay, you're gonna give me CJ's better than Kevin Huerter, and I guess Trey. How old is Trey Lyles? Is Trey Lyles a young player? So
No, he's in his
No.
he's in his 20s, late 20s.
yeah, so it's like
29.
you're not really giving me a young prospect back, and you're making me take bad players and giving me a lottery protected first. You know what I'm saying? Well, not bad players, but like you get what I mean. Not sufficient enough players in my opinion. And then and then you're giving me a protected pick also. So it's like if you make that pick, let's say it's 2027 unprotected, I'll gladly take your Herder mess. I'll gladly take your Trey Lyles or whoever you want to, throw in there, who's not sufficient on your bench, or I'll gladly take that if you just value the picks, because I think Sean right now is valuing the picks because the young prospects. Yes, you want young prospects or young guys in the trade, but it's like we're gonna be drafting that for years on and years on years. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have plenty of guys to choose from.
I don't really look. Devin Carter, I'm sure he's a nice prospect, but at the end, I know who's a lottery pick, but he's a 6'3" shooting guard.
Yeah.
Like unless you're like Cam Thomas or like Donovan Mitchell, it's hard to be like a good starter at that size.
Yeah.
I didn't really see much of his playmaking. He has good defensive upside as far as I hear, but
Yeah.
I don't really envision him being more than like a good bench player.
Yeah. Because in my opinion, like I said, I'm gonna value the pick more than, and that's what I think the Kings are not clearing. Like they are valuing their picks we value the pick more than the guy you're going to give us. Those guys on your end of the bench, or your Devin Carter, or your Trey Lyles, or whoever you guys. We're going to value the pick
We're
more.
we're
You know what I'm saying?
rebuilding,
Yeah,
we're in a situation where, we're trying to get as much picks as we can, so
yeah,
we're not trying to necessarily take 2 more veterans in exchange for Cam Johnson
yeah,
and get a bad pick on top of that. It's just not gonna happen. We're not we at first, we were talking about trying to get 2 firsts for Cam Johnson. So
yeah,
if we can't come out with an unprotected, that's not a good trade.
yeah,
And the beauty of this trade is that both teams are able to pull it off. If they're smart about it, they could pull it off with neither of us being in the luxury tax, which I
yeah,
know both of us are close. Like we're 600,000 away from being in the luxury tax. They're 3 million away. Like if you put in Huerter, Lyles, we give you Johnson, we throw in Max Lewis, that could work, and neither team would be in the tax, as far as I know.
yeah. So it's like if you if we pull out a trade where we're both not in the tax, and then you give us your pick, and it's like I'm trying to like Kings fans, let us know in the comments. Why do you think the GM is putting this lottery protection on this pick? And I know the 26 was going to be, was it probably a 27? We didn't know what year it was, but why do you think the Kings, or why do you think they're putting that protection on the pick? Because like I said, you guys are in win now mode. You guys are trying to go for at least second round of the playoffs. I'm not saying you'll get there, but y'all at least trying to get to the second round.
Well, I got two. I got two theories.
Mhm.
Okay, so one, they're still shaky about De'Aaron Fox because he didn't sign his extension.
That's a
So
good
that's
point.
one reason. And then
Yeah.
the second reason is, well, look, this new CBA, and we already seen it.
Mhm.
The value of role players in trades has gone down significantly.
Yeah.
Like 3 seconds for Schroeder, 3 seconds for DFS. I think Nick Richards, he went for a couple of seconds when the Suns traded for him.
Yeah.
Like in the past, pre CBA, you could have gotten first for these guys, no problem. You could have gotten two for CJ, but the value of first round picks is so much more because of the second aprons. You could draft all these cheap players that just teams are being very stingy with their picks.
Yeah. And I'm and I'm looking at the Kings too. Like outside of Keegan, you desperately need shooting because Kevin Herter was supposed to be your marksman 3-point specialist, but we've seen he's kind of regressing. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not as I remember when like the first year he got there, he was cooking from three. But now it's like now you guys have what Malik's a shooter. De'Aaron will give you threes from time to time, but he's a decent shooter, but you need a real 3-point specialist. And CJ's your guy. CJ is he's literally about to have a 50, 40, 90, one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, probably top two, top three as far as percentage, right? So it's like you need this 3-point shooting, especially because you have DeMar, who's the midi king. De'Aaron is great in the midi. So bonus is your big. He's gonna get rebounds and rebounds and assists. You
Sacramento is 22nd in the NBA in 3-point percentage at 35%.
They desperately need a shooter. So Kings fans, let us know in the comments, you guys. Let us know in the comments what are your trade packages for CJ? Nets fans, let us know about Cam Johnson. How you guys feel about Cam Johnson? This latest news on the Sacramento Kings. Hit that like button for us. Follow us on Instagram at NetsKingdom1 and check out the articles on netskingdom.net. We're counting down the days, man. It's getting close to the trade deadline, man. We're going to see if Sean's going to make a move for Cam Johnson. Appreciate you guys so much. We'll be back.